Markdown is the cornerstone of all Grav content. If you know some basics about Markdown, you're going to get a lot out of Grav. In this video, we'll show you some more advanced techniques that take advantage of Grav's built-in features to get the most out of Markdown for your site's content. There are times when you want to give links specific attributes, like making them open in new tabs rather than in the current window. Here's how. Create a standard link using the traditional Markdown rules. Add a question mark at the end of the link's URL. Add target equals underscore blank. This will tell Grav that your link will be opened in a new tab, rather than in the current one the visitor is browsing in. You can also add features such as CSS classes, IDs, and nofollow attributes using the same method. Now let's talk about media handling. This is one area where Grav puts a lot of great features that go well beyond traditional Markdown. Let's say you have an image. Adding the image to the page is easy, but what if you want that image to appear in black and white? You could open an image editor and edit it yourself, but you can also use Markdown to accomplish this. Here's how. Create the image link as you normally would using basic Markdown technique. At the end of the image's file name, add a question mark and the word grayscale. Now, let's say you wanted to change the size of the image by performing a crop and zoom. This is easy too. Simply add an ampersand to the end and add the words crop zoom with a capital Z equals 300, 200. This will create a cropped and zoomed version of the grayscale image that is 300 pixels wide by 200 pixels high. There are a lot of other tricks you can apply in media files in Grav, many of which are detailed in Grav's official documentation. Tables are an incredible way to bring large amounts of organized content into focus in a clean and easy to digest way. Markdown takes a lot of the work out of creating a web-based table. Let's get started with one. Let's put together a simple table listing staff members by name and area of expertise. We have 3 staff members, each focusing on a different subject. To create a table, we'll use vertical bars to separate cells, each bar indicating the start of a new cell. The top row sets the titles of each column of our table. Depending on the theme, the particular row may be emboldened or treated with a different font weight than the rows below it. Next, we'll want to configure how the next set of rows aligns. So we want to do that using a series of dashes and colons. The colons indicate which side of the cell the text aligns to. A colon on each side of the dashes tells Grav to align the content in the center. Finally, we'll want to fill in the next few rows of our content. And that's it. We've created a simple table using Markdown. And finally, let's look at sharing code or specific blocks of text meant to be copied exactly as it is written. This is another important tool for websites that convey information. There are 2 different types of code blocks in Grav supported by Markdown. The first is Inline Code. This is code blocks that live within paragraphs. One example of this might be a specific command or name you want users to be able to copy and paste. To create an inline code block, simply wrap the content in backticks. The next type is a standalone code block. This is the method of choice for blocks of code with multiple lines and specific syntax rules. For these, you'll want to wrap the entire block in triple backticks, 3 on top, 3 on bottom, with a blank line both above and below the triple backtick sets. With the help of a plugin like Highlight, you can add syntax highlighting to make your code blocks even better. This has been another collection of useful Markdown tips for Grav. With additional plugins and other built-in features of the platform, you can create compelling, feature-rich content with Markdown.